So after about a decade plus, Jesus fucking Christ, the first game came out in like 2013, 2014. Here we are in 2026, and we are still trying to get our second season of The Wolf Among Us. But now it's actually looking kind of likely because I'm gonna be honest, I had written this game off as never coming out and Telltale just being a dead studio again because they had pretty much hemorrhaged and killed off not well, not literally, but they had got rid of most of their staff, and they were on a skeleton crew. They had to rehaul the game because they had lost their partners that were helping them make the game from years ago. So it seemed like the game was just kind of in a perpetual developmental hell with a skeleton crew trying to do their best to just salvage a clusterfuck of a situation. But no, we actually do have some kind of hopeful news because we got a trailer, and not only did we get a trailer for the second game, which is going to come out next year. They didn't give a release date for when, but we know. I want to say we know, but we are hoping for a 2027 release date. But on top of that, the original game is getting a remaster coming out this year, which honestly, I feel like that is well overdue because the Telltale engine that they were using back then, even back in 2013, 2014, that shit was outdated. Like so many of their games back then are just buggy fucks because of that. Their engine was so bad back then. Like I remember that like some of the stuff that we I had as issues and other people has issues in those games because of the engine. Like it didn't matter how good of a PC or a gaming system you had, their games are just made badly because of the engine. So now they're going to be releasing these games, or at least the first season, with a hopefully updated everything, and that will be good because Telltale games, out of I'd say most developers, their games, especially like from season one, Walking Dead, that era, they benefit a lot from a remaster with a whole new engine, a full revamp. Those games definitely could benefit from gameplay, engine, everything. So that's good. So I'm very excited that we actually have news about season two, and there's actually life in it. However, I don't want to seem like the bleak nihilist. I can't say I'm sold even 30% just because we've been through this so many times. I just can't help but think until this game is literally out, like it is available to play, I'm just gonna always have an 80% to 90% doubt of this ever happening because this game, the season two of Wolf Among Us was announced back in 2019, and it was the biggest thing because like holy shit, we had the final season of The Walking Dead. They had Adam Harrington, the voice actor Bigby Wolf, come out and do an announcement and say that yeah, we're doing The Wolf Among Us 2, and it was a big deal. And then the studio fucking died. And then, it came back, and then, they had other iterations of Telltale, the current iteration, and they're like, all right, we're trying again with the Wolf Among Us 2, and then they had was it a teaser? I think yeah, it was like a teaser a few years ago. And then again, just dead air for years. Like no fucking press conferences, no announcement, just nothing. No anything. We didn't hear shit for years. So people just naturally assumed, oh, well, this game's dead. And then we started hearing reports of, oh yeah, Telltale's laying off like the majority of their staff. And the management and how they run the company is pretty much identical to how the company was run before, which is why the company fucking died because of abysmal management. And it seemed like they were just back in a Groundhog Day loop of doing the same shit and fucking themselves over. And so I just got to the point where I was like, okay, Telltale, like I love Telltale games. I love their original games. Season one or season one with Among Us, season one and season two, even season three and season four. Pretty much the majority of the Walking Dead series. I like their Batman series. I like their Borderlands series. I love those games. The Wolf Among Us, really classic favorite. Season one, The Walking Dead, probably is up there with my top favorite games ever. I mean, that is to this day one of the most emotional games I've ever played, especially the end with Lee and Clementine. That iconic as far as I'm concerned. But at the same time, that Telltale, like they had that success, and it seemed like really after that they just never could get back to that. Like they from a management standpoint, from a development standpoint, they just got worse and worse and worse, and they ran themselves into the fucking ground. And they came back, they got a second chance, they got third chances, and it seemed like, and again, they kept just shooting themselves in the fucking dick and in the fucking foot, and they just could not help but fuck themselves over. And then the Wolf Among Us 2 suffered because of it. And now, I mean, yeah, people are excited. Like I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like I'm sorry, I just can't really buy that this is really gonna happen because you said, oh, it's coming out this year, coming out this time, coming out in this time for, and something's happened. Like the fact that they've only said the year but not a date kind of shows to me that they're still not that sure about when this game is going to be in a shipping state. Like the fact that they just said 2027 and that's it. No, no, like fall. No, I'm not even asking for like a specific day, like fucking March 18th, 2027. They can't even have a fucking season. Like, hey, it's gonna come out in the fall of 2027, the summer. They just said 2027, which is very fucking vague. And looking at Telltale's track record, the last plus 10 years, that's not good. Like I'm gonna be honest, like if this had been any other studio, and if this had been Telltale maybe 10 years ago, I would have been like, okay, some point next year, sure. But with how Telltale has been, and there are several iterations since they've come back, fuck, man, I don't know. Like just having a year and that's it. You can't tell me like any type of specific time frame. Is it going to come out near the end of the year? Because to me, it says like, okay, we can say 2027, and if it's not ready at the beginning part, then we can just say, oh, well, it'll come out later. Like to me, it seems like this is a way for them to kind of have an out to say like, oh, well, we never really said a specific time for it to come out. So if it gets delayed to 2028, well, we never really said an exact time. So it's kind of a way to get themselves out of committing to an actual release date and like actually having people expect like, okay, it's going to come out at this time and we're going to be ready for it. So like they have a way to kind of wiggle out of like, well, we wanted to come out this year, but it didn't work out. And other thing, like it's like at the same time, at what point do you just kind of give up the chances of this being a equally good successor? I mean, it's been over not even it's been way over 10 years since 2014, and they've even said that like so much time, the people involved on this iteration of Telltale and interviews talking about the Wolf Among Us, they've even said like, yeah, this game is pretty much going to be a standalone because it kind of has to because it's been so long since the first game came out. Like hell, I haven't played the first game in years now too. I'd have to go back and replay the game and remember shit that happened and like how that would connect. And then on top of that, like, because of this stop and start of the game's coming out, it's not coming out, a lot of people have just given up and are like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Like, I've been hoping for so long. I've been, following Telltale since, whatever. But goddamn, at a certain point, you just say, It's not worth it." Like, this isn't GTA 6. Like, GTA 6 is a game that game could be delayed till 2039. Now, maybe, okay, I say that. I know Rockstar has kind of come under fire for a lot of shit they've started doing and being a fucking scummy corporate game studio. But nonetheless, GTA 6, that game is a game that it could be delayed until the 2035 and it would still gross $1 billion fucking dollars. The hype today would be probably even 90 times more years from now. The Wolf Among Us does not have that. The Wolf Among Us at this point has a niche within a niche within a niche fan base. Like, really, the only people who are still clinging on to this are just diehard Telltale fans and diehard Wolf Among Us fans. And honestly, I don't know what kind of percentage of fans those are now. Like, again, it's been a long fucking time since the first season came out. And the fact that Telltale has, went from being a dead company, coming back, being a half dead company, like at some point, you kind of lose your fan base. You kind of lose your core audience. And so, like, that's the other issue is even if this game comes out, I mean, if it, I mean, I don't know what Telltale's financial status is, but if this game is not just a major fucking hit for them, I don't really know what they're gonna do because they had the expand. They made a mistake making that expansion. I no disrespect to anyone who liked that game, the fucking five of you that like it. I'm sorry, but that shit should have been way down. Why they decided again? Management fucking themselves over. They cannot help themselves. Whoever thought it was a good idea to, instead of dedicating all your resources when you had the actual talent and the actual staff to maybe get the Wolf Among Us 2 shipped years before and actually be in a better state, they wasted it on a fucking lackluster game that no, who remembers that shit now, honestly? Who remembers The Expanse? Nobody. Now, even the people who like the game have probably forgotten about it, fucking after they played it. So they squandered actually having the perfect opportunity to like go forward and develop a Wolf Among Us 2. And then that game was a flop, and they've had nothing since then, and they've been hemorrhaging money. Like it seems like they're really being held together by fucking stitches and fucking glue at this point. Like they were partnered with some other companies and some other production studios to like make the Wolf Among Us 2 originally, and then that fell apart. And then now they're back with another studio. They're like having a partner again to make the fucking game. I think it's like PM Studios or some shit like that. So like they are not clearly in a very solid financial state. So if this game is not just a major hit, I mean, it might be lights out again for Telltale. And as much as I love the original Telltale, and I love those classic games, I just think in a way like shit, like maybe Telltale, like I've said before, maybe Telltale just it does not deserve to continue functioning as a company because if you get this many chances and you keep fucking up this much every time religiously, I don't know how many chances you can get before it's like you put your hands in there and say fuck it. You had your shot, you had your second shot, you had your third shot, you had your 12th fucking shot, and you still fucked it over. You're done. And I mean, I'm really hoping that The Wolf Among Us 2 is good. Like it looks good. From what we've seen in the trailer, it looks good. But the problem is we've seen this again, Groundhog Day. We've been here before. We've been through this same shit over and over again. We've seen footage that look good. We've seen videos with actors and directors and the behind the scenes staff talking about how passionate they are and what's going to be in it. We've been through this and look where it's led to fucking nothing. Disappointment after disappointment. And especially in this era where there is just an endless plethora of games from indie to major games, there's too many options out there for people to be just waiting for something that might be good, might be bad, might just be a fucking shit of a disaster sequel to a game that most people have kind of forgotten about now. So like yeah, like again, I'm happy that Telltale's still alive in some form. I'm glad that they are still in some form working on the Wolf Among Us 2, but at the same time, I can't say I'm really that hopeful or enthusiastic. Like until the day it's out and I can actually play this game, I am just not gonna buy that this game's coming out because we've been through this before several times over, and I just can't. I really just can't be bothered to give that much of a fuck about it. I mean, again, I love Telltale enough to where I can't just write it off entirely, but I can't just say I'm going to be overly zealous and happy and very optimistic. I can't be like, how can you? No one can actually be realistically optimistic or even expecting this to come out because it doesn't even sound like tell it. And I don't know this for sure. I cannot say this with any certainty. I don't know. I have zero information on this, but in a way, this might be tinfoil hat too. But this could be just a stunt, kind of like a stunt boost for them. What I mean by that is Telltale knows that they've had nothing for this. Dom the Bomb, who's been a very prominent Telltale YouTuber, he has clung on to hope to where even he was giving out hope. Where he was like, "Fuck it," Telltale hasn't given a shit, and he was giving up hope, and everyone else has pretty much either forgotten or given up. I wonder if Telltale's like, shit, we are losing what dwindling fan base and goodwill we have left with the diehard fans. We gotta say something like, "Oh, hey, no, 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 hey guys, hey, don't leave. We actually got something. We actually, hey, The Wolf Among Us 2. By the way, that's coming out next year. We can't tell you when or at what type of season or what quarter, but it's coming out. And then on top of that, we have a remaster. So if you want to play the original games, you can play that too. So people are like, oh shit, The Wolf Among Us, and it's kind of a temporary boost. It's kind of a temporary band aid on a fucking bullet hole, a fucking multi bullet hole nuke, essentially. Like, like I wonder if this was kind of a stunt announcement to try to get some goodwill and get like a boost to boost to them again. I don't know. I cannot say that that is the case, but it at this point I would not be surprised if they could be that desperate because honestly, in 2026, how much is Telltale's name worth as a game studio? I would say not a lot. Not that much. I mean, shit, a studio like Studio MDHR, who's only had one game to their name, has more prominence and more of legitimacy to their name. And they made one game, only one game, Cuphead. And Telltale's made a fucking dozen plus over a decade plus, and yet they got more goodwill and more dedicated fans and more of a actual legitimacy to them than Telltale does. So, like, even if Telltale tries to, like, do like a full promotional campaign and try to rehabilitate their image, I don't really know how much that's worth in 2026. And I think that they probably know that too. So, I mean, it's a fuck situation Telltale's in, but I can't say that it's not from their own doing. But, as of right now, we have The Wolf Among Us Season 2 coming out next year. But if it happens, I'll be happy and I'll be there to play it. Probably, maybe not day one, but I'll be there to play it. As soon as it comes out. But if it doesn't come out, I mean, I can't say I'm shocked or disappointed, but we'll have to see. Though we will have to see if we actually do get Wolf Among Us season 2 next year. But with that said, I think that's going to be it for me on Wolf Among Us and Telltale. And so until next time, I will see you good people later.